Good evening, and welcome to tonight's inaugural On Deck Circle Show. Tonight, we'll talk to Sam Tipton, esteemed Executive Director of the Texas Girls Coaches Association. We'll talk about the status of girls high school athletics here in Texas, both this past spring and moving towards the fall. Also, we'll talk to Gayla Goertz, Director of Holly's Hope Rescue. With this pandemic, lots of folks are fostering and adopting. Gayla will give advice on that and thoughts about rescues overall. Also, our own Leland Freeman did a visual tour of a local mall for an economic update here in the area. Also tonight, we'll talk pro sports. Major League Baseball could be looking at a July 4th start. We'll also talk NFL and NHL. And, of course, we'll always take your questions and thoughts via email and Twitter. I'm Chuck Licata. Come on into the studio and join myself, Leland Freeman, and Patrick Davis for tonight's On Deck Circle.
And we wish you a very good evening. Hello there. Welcome to the inaugural show as the On Deck Circle. I am Chuck Licata. And before we go anywhere else, let me bring in my esteemed colleagues and the co-hosts of the show here tonight. That would be Mr. Patrick Davis, our producer, as well as Mr. Leland Freeman. There they are. Leland on the bottom, Patrick on the top. Gentlemen, good evening. How are you?
Glad to be here.
Well, glad to be here as always, Chuck.
Awesome. And got a good show coming up for you tonight. And as Patty, let's bring up that graphic so you folks once again can find out how to communicate with us. There you go. Phone number, we are working on the dial-in. You'll be able to dial in sometime soon. There's the email ondeckcircle19@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle right there, ondeckcircle1. You can reach us there. And, of course, you can check out the Instagram that Patrick, or as we call him here, Patty, set up. There's the Instagram address there. You see our special guest coming up here. As we come back to studio, let's tell you that Sam Tipton of the Texas Girls Coaches Association will be on. Will be coming up at top of the hour, and then we will have Gayla coming up at 20 minutes after the hour as we come back to the studio real quick. Once again, I'm Chuck Licata, Patrick Davis on top. Patrick, there you go. You want to flip that over, Patrick? Just a thought. Okay, so here's the deal. It's the first show. It's the first time we're doing the show. In fact, Jacob Dedamore, who I did a show called Revved Up Sports on the old AM 1300 The Zone here in Austin when that was the Longhorn station. One of the most fun shows I've ever done was with Jacob. He said, hey, good luck. Remember the first show, jitters, something's probably going to go wrong. It's going to take a while to adjust. We're of that ilk. We're of that thinking. It's going to take us a little bit of time to adjust. Give us a couple shows. Usually takes about 2 or 3 to kind of really get a flow. So bear with us as we work through some stuff. Speaking of working through, Patrick, let's get the graphics. This is a little bit self-promotion, shameless self-promotion, but we want to show you who we are, give you just a little bit of background. Let's go to the first slide. There's myself. Yes, I'm a dog person. That's pretty much what you need to know about me, besides the fact I've been in media for 37 years. Next shot is, this is Patrick Davis and who he is. I'm telling you, man, I like that shot, not because it's a really cool frame shot, but the fact that you're looking on the graphic into your own information, that leads the viewer to lead right into your information, read about Patrick there. And then the really cool shot is our third co-host. That is Mr. Leland Freeman. Leland, talk about the background there on that.
Well, that's Air Force One. And so when Patty came up with his photo of him in an airplane, going, well, dang, I can't use any of mine. Okay, Patty, hold my beer.
Look at that. We got competition going. We're 2 minutes into the show.
Oh, we're a sports-based program. But, yeah, that was
right.
actually when Air Force One landed in Austin, Texas, this past January when the president came to speak before, I believe it was the Farmers Association. But I actually got invited to greet Air Force One at Austin Bergstrom International Airport. And
beautiful.
The Secret Service were very professional during the whole event. And the plane, you have to see it in person. It's just absolutely impressive.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. And he is a pilot, so he'll be doing throughout the show.
Not just a pilot, but a commercial pilot.
Commercial pilot.
Yep.
Throughout the show, and what we want to do moving forward is we'll bring in guests. We are a sports-based show, Texas high school and college in particular, but we also want to invite you If you own a small business here in the Central Texas area, Waco, Austin, San Antonio, we will come out and you're going to see a video of Leland touring one of the local malls to give you an idea of the economy here. If you own your own business, hit us up on deck circle 19 at gmail.com. We would love to come out. We'll shoot a quick video, let you talk about your business, talk about the economy, give you a chance to do a little self-promotion. We would love to do that. So if you own a business, and the reason I say if you own is because if you're a corporate business, we have to go through paperwork, triplicates, whatever. And we can do that, but it's easier, and we want to do good for the local folks, the local businesses. Hit us up on deck circle 19 at gmail.com. Let us know who you are, why you want us to come out. We'll be happy to come out. And again, coming up after the interview with Gayla, you'll see Leland doing a really cool tour of one of the malls here in Central Texas. And again, sports-based show, this is what we do. But email open, the Twitter, you're welcome to tweet us as well if you want to tweet about your business. Also, if you're around the country and you want to send us a video, send us the video. We'd be happy to run that on the show as well. Again, this is about, we're about sports, but we're also community-based. We want to help the folks in the community. That's why we have the guests on that we do. Gayla coming on to talk about rescues. Next week, we'll have Tamber Prince, who has started a college athlete type based cause. We'll talk to her about that as well. So, guys, we're going to get into a whole bunch of topics on the show. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it, Joe.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk real quick. And again, we'll take your emails and your tweets. Let us know if you have any questions, any thoughts. Guys, today, it's ironic. I love the fact that we're starting the show. And today, big news out of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, basically, Major League Baseball has proposed an 80 game-long season with a
82-game season.
82-game-long season, which is about, half of what a traditional season
Right.
is, 162 games.
Just about.
But more importantly, a 7-team playoff, which
Right.
a lot of people have been supporting because you have these long seasons. They call it the grind for a reason. And there's a lot of teams that are eliminated by June and July. And so the question is, why are they playing? What are they playing for? Other teams which are on the bubble, but they're a few games out. I think this is a good thing. I think the NBA had it right where it was called the second season for a reason.
Right.
But at the same token, it gives more markets a reason to go to the games because the games actually count. Now, there's a lot of hurdles that have to be
Cleared.
Yeah, exactly. The Players Association has to
Right.
approve it.
And with the Players Association, the item there is owners are talking about prorating the salaries, and the players have made it very clear, no, we get paid. The real quick, to give you the quick rundown, as Leland said, 82-game season. The leagues are no longer. You're talking about regional action because of the COVID-19. Use of home stadiums in areas that have local and state government approval will be involved. So-called spring training 2.0 begins in June, and then we'll start the season sometime early July, maybe even before July 4th. That was my prediction, was we'll start July 4th. We might do it in front of that. The biggest thing, among other things, guys, and I'm telling you right now, quote me on it, they're talking about a universal designated hitter. Now, that's it. If we get this season in, guaranteed, no question, moving forward, we go back to the American League, National League, guaranteed National League's going to have the DH. They can't get out of it. You can't reverse this. And they've wanted the DH in the National League for so long. This is the platform to do it.
Well, I think this is actually an appropriate time to go to universal DH, especially with the rule changes that were approved, was it last year, where they can't do, what is it, what's the term with a pitcher, you put them in for one batter and you immediately pull them?
Oh, yeah, the substitution, double switch.
The double switch or left-handed specialist where you just have them go in for one batter.
And you can't do that anymore because now the rule is you bring in a relief pitcher, he either has to close out the inning or he has to face at least 3 batters.
And you have to worry about that pitcher now potentially batting in the National League. And you have a lot of pitchers that have gotten severely injured. A good example was Andy Pettitte when he checked his swing. He required Tommy Johns. So, I mean, pitchers, they're terrible batters to begin with because they only play once every fifth game with the starters.
Right.
And the relievers, they're not meant to be in for more than an inning or so. So, I think this is a very good. I think this is a very good rule.
It's going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen.
Gonna
and
happen.
Pitchers can focus on pitching and not worry about batting poorly and getting injured for trying to check a swing or whatnot.
Right. Okay, as we said, coming up top of the hour here in about 5 minutes, we'll talk to Sam Tipton, Executive Director of the Texas Girls Association. We'll talk about high school athletics and girls athletics in particular. But in the meantime, really sad news from the world today. One of my favorite all-time actors passing away, and his name is Jerry Stiller. And a lot of folks will know this next clip that highlights Jerry Stiller's career.
Hello? This is Frank Costanza. What do you want? You think you can keep us out of Florida? We're moving in lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to be in the pool. We're going to be in the clubhouse. We're going to be all over that shuffleboard court. And I dare you to keep me out.
All right, so there you go. Father of Ben Stiller, married to Ann Mira, and just a great, funny guy. And of course, among his other great accomplishments, of course, he was on The King of Queens, but he's the guy that gave us the Festivus for the rest of us.
Really?
Yep, that's him. So I think coming up December 23rd, a little tribute to the man, Jerry Stiller. Really cool. Okay. So NFL, NBA, NFL is gearing up. Leland and Patrick, what I've heard, especially today, is they're talking about a shortened training camp and preseason, which of course is what they've always wanted anyway, right?
Yep.
They already shrank it to 3 games for the preseason. They added 1 game to the regular season.
And then NBA. Is there any reason to finish the season at this point?
I don't think so.
I mean, I would personally. I'm not a Lakers fan, but
Thank God.
I think like that if any fan wanted to see a season finish just on how explosive they were playing, considering the untimely death of Kobe Bryant and stuff like that, and even before that happened, I mean, a couple of my friends, they're from.
Wait, you have friends? You have friends?
I know,
How many?
right? It's
2?
shocking.
2?
Well, 4 if you include you guys. So
2.
2, yeah.
Well,
but yeah, what they were saying is that they were just like, man, like this seems to be like our year. And then before all of this nonsense happened, they were just like, well, now they got to do it. They got to go and do it for Kobe. And I mean, I've always liked LeBron and stuff like that. I'd like to see the season finished, but I also just like sports, and I need something to watch. So I won't say no to basketball. I'll take NFL over it, but I won't say no to basketball.
Real quick before you answer.
My
Real quick.
counterpoint to that.
Wait. Hang on just a second. Let me throw in a shameless plug. Looking forward to Vipe Live, Vipe Media getting back to work because, of course, we've had no sports to broadcast, so looking forward to that. Okay, go ahead.
My counterpoint to that is.
Thank you.
Twofold. You're asking these players to pick back up when they haven't played for, 3 months? So the question is any of that momentum from the regular season still there? Probably not. So,
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is that a lot of the players, including Kobe, not Kobe, including LeBron, have said... Yeah.
Go ahead.
Including LeBron, have said that...
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Kobe. LeBron has said that he would not play a game unless it's before live fans, even if it's televised. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
NHL, still up in the air. Really haven't heard anything from Gary Bettman. I think he's kind of waiting to see how everything goes. And, I was talking to Clint Mokery, who is the associate head coach and pitching coach for Concordia Baseball. That's broadcast on Vipe Live and VRN. And he was saying, one of the most frustrating parts about this is we know this season, the spring season is over, but what's coming up in the fall? We really don't know what's coming up in the fall. Hopefully by the end of this month, beginning of June, we'll get a better feel. But, it's really kind of hard to plan anything right now because we just don't know what's happening.
Chris Delcane, I believe it was like about a week and a half ago, he told the KLBJ Sports Show that they're intending on having a football season this fall. I mean, and it's also the economics of it as well, is that even though obviously the
Sam.
obviously the players are being paid. There's a lot of
Sam.
money involved with the advertising, the television rights deals, the stadium personal seat licenses. So I think there's going to be some form of live sports in the fall from both the NCAA as well as the pro leagues.
Right. Okay, we're going to work to get Sam Tipton on the air. We'll have live video of Sam coming up here in just a second as Patrick works the magic fingers to make that happen technology-wise.
All right, here we go.
Don't forget, coming up after this show at 8:55, it'll be On the Air with Mike Allen. It'll be a lot of fun to have. If you've never seen the Mike Allen show, well, you're in for a shock and surprise at the same time.
Just make sure the kids go to bed.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's not for kids.
It is not a PG-13, PG-18 show by any stretch of the imagination. So, as working to get Sam, our first guest, Sam, of course, the executive director of the Texas Girls Coaches Association. And by the way, congratulations to Lee Grisham, who is the assistant executive director. He was going to be inducted into the TGCA Hall of Fame here coming up later. So, and that'll be this summer. And we'll talk to Sam here in just a second.
Just waiting to get video up.
Okay, Sam is working on that.
There we
There he
go.
is. Hello, Mr. Sam Tipton. How are you, sir? Oh, that's my bad. There we go. Sorry, Sam. Now we got you. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How's everything going in the La Casa tonight?
Well, this isn't my casa, but we've got the studio up and everything's going well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks for taking time to join us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for allowing us to speak to you tonight. Texas Girls Coaches Association says hi to you and everybody out there in Radio Land.
Well, it's good to have you on. And first and foremost, the obvious question, Sam, how much has this COVID-19 and what's happened and what's developed taken TGCA by surprise?
Oh my goodness. You know, the more you think about it, Chuck, you don't realize what you really have until something's taken away from you. And things were going so great on the girls' athletic side of it.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, we got through the girls' state basketball tournament. We crowned our state champions. We got to finish out the season. And we're sitting in San Antonio, Texas the next week. And on Thursday, we come in and we're playing the semifinal games. Brought to our attention that after the afternoon session, the tournament would be shut down totally. But at that point in time, we had this problem with the swine flu back so many years ago.
I think it was like 8 years ago we called that up. 8 years ago.
Right, and we had to call off the state track meet. But 2 weeks later, we come back and we ran the state track meet the same week as the state girls softball tournament.
Right.
Honestly, when we walked out of San Antonio that day, we thought we were going to come back April the 10th and finish the boys' state basketball tournament. Now we sit 7 weeks later and nothing has buzzed yet. I do commend the governor of the state of Texas, Greg Abbott. I commend Mike Marworth, the Commissioner of Education, Texas Education Agency, and I highly commend the University Interscholastic League headed up by Dr. Charles Bryden, Dr. Jamie Harrison, Deputy Director, and also Susan Elson, the Athletic Director. All these people have worked diligently to try to put Humpty Dumpty back together.
And Sam, you know, it's funny you say that because you ring those names, and of course, I've done some work with you and Lee and everybody at TGCA. Was at the volleyball state championships. You know, that's one of my that very close to my heart. And it's not just because of the athletes, but it's because I get to see Dr. Elson and Dr. Brydup, Dr. Harrison, everybody at UIL, and of course you and Lee and everybody at TGCA. Talk about the personal side real quick for you And the fact that everybody's disconnected at this point, the only way we're talking is Zoom meetings. The only way we're talking is, shows like this. And the only way we're really communicating is through social media pretty much, right?
And thank goodness we've had social media, because it was one way to keep everything together. On that Friday morning after the state boys basketball tournament had been called off, Dr. Brydiff and I rode back together. Dr. Brydiff and I rode back to Austin together, and I dropped him off over on 1431. His wife come and picked him up, and I gave Debbie Brydiff a hug that day, and we walked away. I did not know at that time that was the last handshake, the last hugs I would give, and still have not been able to do that today because of the social distancing and everything else involved. Like I said when we began, we took so much for granted. If we can ever get it back, I can promise you we're going to do it better and bigger than we've ever done it in the history of girls athletics.
Sam, this is Leland Freeman. My question is with regards to access to the athletic facilities, because I know that strength and conditioning is an important part for any athlete, and what considerations can be made to allow these student athletes access to these facilities if they have no way of working out at their home?
Well, that's a great question, and I would like to tell you I have all the answers and we've got it all put in place. But I can tell you this: the University Interscholastic League has more than one plan of action. We're waiting to see what the governor says this next week,
right,
as to exactly what we're going to be able to do and when we're going to be able to do it. But the UIL has worked diligently with Texas high school coaches, with Texas girls coaches, with the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association to take our input and them devise more than one plan of action. So whatever the governor says in his next big major press conference, we're going to be prepared to go forward. We've always said at Texas Girls Coaches Association, you've always got to have a plan B. Well,
yeah. C, D, E.
Yeah, there you go. We may be going to use the whole alphabet before we get everything done. But there is a plan of action, and I feel very comfortable because the UIL understands athletics to the extent that they understand that we've got to have acclimation for our athletes before they can perform in any type of contest. We're all still sitting here expecting to open everything up on on August 3rd for our football and and volleyball to be going full speed ahead.
Right.
And we have the ability to modify seasons to fit those seasons in. So yes, I have all the faith in the world that the UIL is going to put a plan out there that will fit our needs.
Talking live with Sam Tipton, Executive Director of the Texas Girls Association, and a really good guy. So, Sam, you talk about projecting to August. Let's talk about one of our favorite events, and of course, obviously one of yours coming up mid-July. It's the TGCA convention, which of course not only gives all the coaches a chance to visit, a chance for the TGCA to visit with their coaches and spread the word and take feedback, but one of my favorite in particular, the All-Star Games. What is the status of that as we speak right now?
Right now, the TGCA Summer Clinic 2020 TGCA Summer Clinic to be held at the Arlington Convention Center, Arlington, Texas, July the 6th through the 9th. Everything is on go, starting with our honor awards banquet on Monday night, July the 6th. We'll have our 1 through 4A All-Star games on July 7th. We'll have our 5A, 6A All-Star games on July the 8th.
Okay.
The only thing that is going to be missing at these All-Star games is the fact that the governor come out and closed all schools. As a result, all spring sports were not finalized because we had no schools and we had no place to play.
Right.
We had no way to do those. So our All-Star game will consist of our cross-country All-Stars, our volleyball All-Stars, basketball All-Stars, and our cheerleaders. So
Okay.
we'll be missing a major portion of our All-Star games, but we're planning on going full speed ahead on the All-Stars
Good.
that were selected, where all seasons were completely finished. Our honor awards banquet on Monday night at the Hilton Hotel, that is still on go, where we recognize our state championship coaches, our coaches of the year, and sub-varsity coaches of the year. So we've got everything in place. We're ready to go. The real good thing about it is the fact that our clinic, July 6th through the 9th, will be the first clinic to open up so coaches can come and socialize and learn with in-person presentations.
Right.
Right after we go, July 6th through the 9th, the next week, the Texas High School Athletic Directors will be with their convention in Waco, Texas, and right after that, the Texas High School Coaches Association will have their convention in San Antonio. So we're going to be back to back to back. We're ready to go. We're just waiting so that things open up so we can do what we do best, and that is to have a socialization and an education for our coaches of girls athletics.
Nice.
Sam, this is Leland, and I have another question, and it's regarding the academics, because a lot of school districts went to a pass-fail system for the spring semester. And how does that factor in with calculating minimum GPA requirements for student athletes, especially if there were some student athletes that had a bad fall and they were working hard this spring to get their GPA up? How does that work?
You know, that question right there, thank goodness we have a Texas Education Association. And as the TEA, they're the ones that determine those things. But if you look at the way academics are done for athletics, once the school year was over, every student athlete was eligible until school started the next year. So the GPA part of it, that will be a problem area that TEA will have to work out.
Right.
But all we were looking at going into August for eligibility would be the amount of credits each student received. And a pass or fail, those students would receive those credits if they were passing when they finished those courses. What we're really concerned about is that online education we've been doing here for the last 7 weeks, or been less than that, about five weeks. We've got a lot of students out there that we have not been able to reach. Probably in the terms of 20 to 30% of our student population are not getting the education they need. So there's going to have to be a lot of catch up. And we've got a lot of parents right now that they fired themselves as homeschool teachers, or principals or superintendents of the homeschool.
Wow.
And they figured out exactly what our teachers were doing. But think about this. That coach has had no personal contact with our athletes going on 7 weeks now.
Right.
I am so proud of the way our coaches have handled it. They've reached out with a lot of different innovative ideas, but the majority of our coaches have not tried to gain an advantage. They've tried to do nothing but be there for that student athlete when they're most needed. And as a result, we're seeing our student athletes stay active and do things that they wouldn't do otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Well, sign of the times for sure. Sam Tipton, Executive Director of the Texas Girls Coach Association. We'll have you on in a couple weeks. Once we get to the end of the month, obviously things are going to change a little bit. We'll bring you back on. You can give us an update on TGCA and everything that is Texas Girls High School. Thanks for the time tonight, my friend, and most importantly, stay safe.
Chuck, I really appreciate that, and gosh, it's good to hear you back on the air. And I look forward to the next year. It's going to be the best and the biggest year we've ever had. Mm-hmm. TGCA proud. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right. That is Sam Tipton, and man, just great to kind of get a feel for the Texas high school scene. For sure, as we bring it back to a 3-shot real quick, and we'll get some quick responses from Leland, who asked a couple really good questions, and Patrick, before we go to our next guest. Thoughts? Come on, you're the smartest guy in the room. Let's go. Come on.
My mic has to be turned down first.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There we go.
Nasty little detail.
I like the fact that he is trying to be very aggressive and optimistic with the schedule. The fact that he even said that they were expecting to restart the student athletic season in the first week of April and trying to finish off with the kids. I mean, unlike college, these student athletes, they're not going to stick around for an extra year of the 13th grade.
Seniors are graduated.
They're graduating.
Yeah.
They're going off to college, and they've been also in collegiate athletics. They've been robbed of potentially their seasons of their senior season, and it's just unfortunate that what has happened. I do like the fact that he is, being very optimistic and hoping to have the banquet and the All-Star games in the middle of the summer. I don't know how the players are going to be able to play if they don't have access to conditioning facilities. That being said, I think the whole situation with COVID has been, unfortunately, it's just been tragic for the whole planet. And obviously, he has a plan of trying to get things restarted again, and hopefully it won't adversely affect the fall season going forward.
Yep, that's what we're hoping for. Patrick, your thoughts before we go to our next guest?
No, I like his optimism.
Yep. Sam was a take charge guy. I'm telling you what, Sam, as you can probably tell, his demeanor is kind of just calm and natural, but man, behind the scenes, he is a take charge kind of guy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's got to be crazy for the kids that don't get to experience. I mean, I remember my senior year. I remember how great it was. When we did our UIO 1 act and all that stuff, and to just have to try to put myself in that position and think how I would have handled things had I not been able to do that, had I not been able to finish that school year with all my friends and stuff like that. That's got to be really tough. So
there he goes, bragging that he has friends again. It's one of those. I want to meet these friends sometimes. Okay,
maybe I'll bring some. I'll have some be a guest. I don't know what we'll talk about. They'll basically just be like, he paid me like $10 to be here. So I'm like, shh.
Yeah, if we see a buffet out in Mike's kitchen, we'll know why, right?
Well, no, I'll be there for that.
Nice. All right, Patrick, why don't you go ahead and dial up our next guest? Thank you. Let's go to the video of Leland taking a tour to give you an idea of the economy here in Texas. And what's great about it is it's a little bit on the longer side, but what's great about this video is Leland gives great commentary about the current situation of the economy, of the doings of the mall going on right there. So, Patrick, when you're ready, let's take that video.
coming right up.
Done. 3, 2, 1, and go. Good afternoon, folks. Leland Freeman here. It is May 8th, 2020. We're here to observe the reopening of the Texas economy, week 2. And we are at Lakeland Mall again, and let's see what's actually open. The Muzak is actually really, really loud still up here. There's a few more people in this mall than last week, and there's actually a few stores that are actually open. Craig, John, good to see you. The biggest reopening that I've observed so far is the reopening of Macy's, which is one of the 3 remaining anchor stores here at Lakeline Mall. That's still here. The other 2 are JCPenney. JCPenney is not open, and I have not seen if the Dillard's is reopened or not. And Sears, of course, has gone out of business 2 years ago.
Real quick, when you say there are more people here today than last week, what percentage would you say that you've seen?
There's about 3 times the amount of people. There was maybe 20 people in the entire building, including the employees, last week. First, they got the hand sanitizers. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Hopefully it doesn't screw things up too much. Here we go. Now, here's the, it's almost like the movie Idiocracy. They're actually putting markers on the floor specifically to say, okay, you're 6 feet away from people at every particular juncture. Yeah, Macy's is actually one of the biggest department store chains in the United States. And they're probably one of the healthier chains. JCPenney, there's been a lot of reports in the news, specifically with JCPenney, on the verge of filing for bankruptcy. Neiman Marcus has just filed for bankruptcy along with J. Crew. But Macy's is glad to see them reopening because they had 90,000 employees that they furloughed, and it's glad to see everyone able to get back to work.
By the way, you're doing a great job double duty between your stream right there and this stream right here.
My wonderful stream. Hopefully T-Mobile's going to fix the network. So I guess the easiest way of documenting this entire mall is we'll take the elevator up to the 2nd floor and then see what's open up there. So the rules as of this recording, businesses can be open with 25% of their previous capacity. So say a business is allowed to have 100 people inside, and it's kind of gray if it includes the employees, or it's just the patrons. You can have 25 people in, plus or minus the employees, depending on whose interpretation of the rules. And obviously, we're not even at 25% capacity. It's nice to see that they're not putting up a ton of barriers up on everything. That I guess they assume people aren't just going to stick their hands all over the merchandise. That was one of the concerns that I had when they reopened. If you look at a lot of these fast food restaurants, or even just going to the grocery store, they have plexiglass barriers up over the cashiers, and they limit how many people are able to go in at any given point. And it doesn't seem like we're observing that. It's almost, I shouldn't say it's almost like we're back to normal, because we have these markers on the floor, as you can see. And it makes you wonder if this is going to be the new normal, where these are going to remain permanently, or after this pandemic scare is over, that they're going to quietly take those off. Because they're kind of aesthetically not so great. So we're going to exit out of the Macy's, and we're going to enter the 2nd floor of Lakeline Mall. My observations of all 3 projects, especially with DKR and the FC Stadium, it doesn't look like they're modifying the construction, considering it's half built. The new arena is a hole in the ground right now, so that makes you wonder if they're going to be able to
or if they're willing to modify it to make the building less intimate for fans going forward. Hopefully not, because I think a lot of this pandemic scare is more scared than anything else. If you've been paying attention to what Mike Allen's been saying on his program, I think a lot, and this is my personal opinion, but backed up with a lot of scientific evidence, I think most people in the world have this thing already. They've had it, they've dealt with it, their bodies produce antibodies, and it's a much larger population that's already been infected, which means that if you take that and divide that by the total deaths, the percentage of deaths to infected is much lower. Of course, the problem with movie theaters in general is that most of them overexpand and they have massive amounts of overhead, and they make most of their money actually on concessions. So the Alamo Drafthouse has actually got a niche because they show older movies which have to pay less royalties towards, and if they charge the same amount of tickets as, say, first-run movies for some of their programs, they would be able to collect more revenue, and plus they've made it themed where people just want to go to the Draft House and say, I'm going to the Draft House, not, oh, I'm just going to some random theater to see a movie that I want to see. And the interesting thing with the release schedules, a lot of movies have been pushed back 9 to 12 months. Fast 9 has been pushed back. Ghostbusters Afterlife has been pushed back to 2021. Even movies that are actually going to be released this year, such as Top Gun Maverick, that's been pushed back to Christmas. So we're going to have the back 9 of the second floor of the mall coming up. Let's see if the Dillard's is reopened or not.
So, in terms of aura, what kind of aura do you get today here as opposed to what you did when they first reopened?
When they first reopened, well, first of all, I think the air conditioning was turned off for the duration of the shutdown, so it was actually a lot hotter, a lot more humid inside the mall. Also, the fact that 90% of the stores were closed. The only nation chains that were open were Finish Line, Annie Ann's, and Chick-fil-A. And the fact there was maybe 30 people total in the mall. I think most people didn't realize it was open. Most of the stores were closed. Macy's was closed. And it just kind of felt like we were in the middle of the Twilight Zone. Now this actually, the vibe I'm feeling right now is it's slowly kicking itself back into life. And of course, all the way at that end right over there was the former Sears. And it looks like Dillard's is reopened too, so 2 out of the 3 department stores have reopened. Probably take, there's actually another, and what Dillard's does is that they actually buy a lot of these malls, they buy 2 smaller department stores, and they actually split the stores up, because if you ever look at a single store Dillard's, it's 4 stories tall. They are the last truly full service department store in the model of the 20th century. You know, such as Macy's back of old, or if you grew up in the Midwest, Marshall Field's before it got bought out by Federated Department Stores and it got converted to Macy's, or likewise Dayton's. Dayton Hudson's. You know, Hudson's was this huge department store in downtown Detroit. Every city had their own regional department store that was based there. For example, Houston had Foley's. That building has since been demolished as well. That thing was a 20-story building, and they basically sold everything there. It was a mall before it was a mall. One store had it all. It's kind of sad those don't exist anymore. So Aeropostale. Now I'm flipping the camera back. So American Eagle, Jimmy Jazz, and Aeropostale are apparently open. So yeah, Jimmy Jazz over there, and American Eagle Outfitters and Aeropostale have reopened. It's nice actually seeing stores open. It was just kind of surreal that they actually had the mall open
And there was like maybe 2 or 3 stores open entirely, so it almost seemed like the mall itself would have been losing money the first few days it was actually opening. Shoe department Encore, so that's open. Wherever this place is, looks like a large shoe store. And there is a barbershop that's open, Triple B Men's Hair Salon. And sort of, actually. Yeah. I'm surprised that there isn't a line out their door, considering people couldn't have haircuts for about a month and a half. It's been broadcast over the news, but maybe they don't know that particular store is open. That more people are familiar with, larger chains such as Supercuts and other independent barbershops that actually have storefronts outside of the mall, but on public streets. This store, Journey Kids, that was not open last week. Neither was My Sweet Boutique. Cool and Eclectic, that was open last week. That is actually a really, really, I hate to use the term of its name, but cool store, which has all these cool collectibles, sports memorabilia. You'd like this store, Chuck. As well as neon signs and these battery-powered toy vehicles. So it's actually, this place is, and they sell records as well, vinyl. How many locations do y'all have? Gotcha. And how has business been since they restarted?
It's been iffy, here and there.
Has there ever?
No.
You're expecting less or you're expecting more?
More.
I was expecting more too. I was expecting this place to be at the 25% capacity.
I think at Barton Creek and the other malls are doing good.
Yeah, Lakeline is kind of an oddball mall to begin with. In fact, the food court had its own.
It looks like we should be at home.
Well,
Nobody's here, no one is buying, everyone is scared to come in the mall. So we are here risking our own lives, trying to sell the stuff, trying to pay the bills. The government should do something about that, or pay our rent for at least a couple of months. We should all stay home till everything completely, safe. So then we should get out and start selling, and people should come.
and you were saying that Barton Creek Mall is doing a lot more traffic.
Well, that's the high-end mall out there, so it has downtown, has everything.
They have an Apple Store as a gateway.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, this mall's been kind of weird when they got rid of the Sega arcade. And they walled that whole area off. They had a few more stores where that pink store actually is, and the elevator was. In fact, Chuck, you've been in Austin for how many years? So you remember what this mall used to look like, and it had a really cool theming to the food court, which is not there anymore. Yeah, malls used to be a destination location where people would just, come and hang out and just. Now I think when they make these things more sterile, it's attract. Yeah, look at that, it's Belushi over there. Foot Locker is still closed. The Monogram place looks like it's open, because that's a local business. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, that's another salon. That's cool. You guys were able to reopen today. Oh. Gotcha. What I've noticed at this mall, about was it 40% of the businesses are local businesses? I've noticed, Chuck. So yeah, support these guys. So. So that's the entire Lakeline Mall. Mozart, this place, which I guess sells cool, eccentric lamps, they're also open. So yeah, support your local business. Support your businesses, period. But if you know But if you have a favorite local business, they need all the revenue you can get. Lammy's is open too. So I guess maybe we'll just make this a regular occurrence, come out like once every week or every other week and just see how the economy's reopening. Anyway, Leland Freeman signing off.
Swash.
All right, so there's your little mall tour. And again, sorry about the editing. It's been about 3 years since I've edited video, so bear with me.
We'll get you back up there. Don't worry.
There we go. So, Leland, so your thoughts about that now that we sit here today?
I'm absolutely shocked that the place wasn't at 25% capacity. I think a lot of it has to do with the fear that was pushed by a lot of the media.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting once everything reopened that there would be a line to get into the stores. And to be honest with you, I'm just shocked that it's not the case. Same thing with restaurants as well. A lot of restaurants have reopened their dining rooms, and I was expecting, I have to make a reservation again, but apparently that's not the case either.
Wow.
All right, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, and there we go. There she is, the pretty young lady. Hello. That is Gayla Goertz of Holly's Hope Rescue. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chuck. How are you?
Good, good. Glad to have you on. Appreciate the time.
Well, thank you for asking me.
All right, so let's start with the basics. Holly's Hope Rescues. How did it come about? When did it come about? Give us the history.
I had a sweet baby named Holly, and this is her. She passed away at about age 10 with throat cancer. It was August 13, 2014. And within a couple of months, I had announced on Facebook I'm going to start an animal rescue, and everybody wants to come to my to participate or consider it. I'd have pizza, beer, and wine, and water. So had about 8 people show up, and a lot of those people have kind of hung around and helped Holly's Hope be what it is today.
Well, we appreciate everything that you and the folks at Holly's Hope Rescue are doing for dogs. And really, ever since the COVID came about and shut everything down, it seems like, and of course we've seen reports, so let's get your perspective on it, a lot of folks are both fostering and adopting dogs since they're now home and forced to be home. It seems like there's a increase in that, which of course is good for all dog rescues in all dog shelters, correct?
For the most part, yeah, a lot of people feel like they don't have time for animals. So I'm worried about kind of the backlash of everybody's like, oh my gosh, we got all the time in the world. But really their thought is, I think, let's adopt now while we have time to be home and really bond with the animal. And then it's okay, get them trained and whatnot. That way they're ready to go back to work. But I'm just afraid that when people go back to work, they're going to realize we don't have time for this dog anymore. So that hadn't really been talked about. I don't want to be a bummer, but I'm worried about the backlash of a bunch of return dogs later. But right now, COVID has actually helped, especially as smaller rescues, because the shelters are closed. So it's kind of pros and cons. A con is if we want to rescue an animal. So Holly's Hope focuses on saving the animals that are out of time. They're in the 11th hour. They're in the euthanasia holding room, and they literally are down to we have to make the call and just say, no, we can't, because it's found out it's dog aggressive, and they just have to let them go. We have to make some tough decisions. So we try to pull the dogs that are very friendly and would be somebody's great pet. So we pull them, but so right now we can't even go to the shelter to see how friendly they are. We have to go on what the shelter says. And even then, they're understaffed. They don't have hardly anybody there. So they call it a blind tag. So we just email, we'll take this dog, and we say, who's going to pick them up? And we don't know anything about the dog. So they're blind tags. But since the shelters are closed, the public is reaching out to us. And so we've had more adoptions and offers to foster than we have in 2 to 3 years. So we've had about 30 dogs get adopted in the last couple of months. Thank goodness. So foster database has skyrocketed, and it's all really pretty good. So everybody's very grateful that the smaller rescues have dogs to choose from, because you just can't get them from the shelter right now.
Right.
But that's where we pull from. We pull the ones that are just about to die.
And real quick, if there's somebody out there watching and their family or themselves are considering either fostering or adopting a dog, talk about what their mindset should be and what they should go into this anticipating as far as when they do foster and when they do adopt a dog.
foster is not a big rescue. I mean, big uncertainty. I mean, it's not like a commitment, really. The foster is a great way to get to know a dog. We have what's very commonly called as foster fail. You start off, I'll foster them until we can find them a great home. Foster is often the missing link to life and death to a dog, because we can't pull a dog from a shelter without a temporary home. And very seldom do they go from shelter to permanent home, because they really haven't had that meet and greet. So the foster people that are willing to let an animal come into their home for, sometimes it's a day or two, sometimes it's a week. We've had 2 dogs get adopted yesterday that we've had for 10 days. So it can be a long time. You just never know. You kind of know up front if they're the super adoptable ones, the young puppies and whatnot. But people just need to understand what a commitment an animal is. I'm dealing with, like, right this second, of a dog that my team worked really good on, making sure we had a good match. And all of a sudden, this doctor is saying they're going to return this, just dump this dog. Like, you can't dump that dog.
No.
Bring it to us. So I'm just telling them, get them to the boarding facility until we can figure this out. Now it's not the good. I needed, like tonight, I can't do it. So, where we're going to put that dog tomorrow, but that's a constant struggle of ours. And right now we've got the Canadian border is closed. So we had already in early January, when this was all just kind of starting, we had several adoptions in progress in Canada, and then they've shut the border down. So we're just scrambling. They're all kind of placed well right now. Some of the adopters are helping us pay for some of the boarding fees until the border opens up. But that's kind of the negative side of the COVID right now, is the border being closed. But otherwise, it's really helped us clear our foster homes. We don't have but about 7 homes available right now.
Well, and real quick, we're a little short on time, but I want to get in the fact that folks have been so helpful with Holly's Hope Fosters, bringing in dogs. I myself am fostering a dog right now. Pepper, we know the adventures of Pepper and what that's been, what fun that was as he was out for 19 days. We'll talk to Tanya, who was the trapper, helped us, her and Roger helped us get Pepper back. He's been back with me for about a week now. And the really fun part was, as I showed one of the dogs who at the time was named Barney, who was a foster of Holly's Hope, was showing it to one of my friends, a gentleman named Drew, fell in love with the dog, said, I mean, literally looked at his photo and said, that's my dog. And within an hour and a half, we had Barney, who's now named Shadow, with Drew, and what a great story that was.
Friend of yours made him easy. There wasn't much of a process when you're going through friends of friends. Those are the most successful adoptions. And yeah, I just posted before he literally picked him up about an hour and a half before Shadow was being transported back to Dallas. So that was a blessing. And thank you for sharing. It takes people sharing posts and, oh, look at this cute dog that Holly's Hope has. It takes it networking, social media that's making it a success. So we're saving a lot of animals.
Real quick, folks that want to get in touch with you, and of course, they can reach out to the Holly's Hope Foster folks just to get some advice. They don't have to particularly be interested in fostering or adopting. They can find out information. How can they find Holly's Hope Fosters?
It's Holly's Hope Rescue, just Holly's, plural, HOLLYS, hoperescue.com. You can sign up to volunteer there, foster. Our adoption forms are there. Our donation link, we can't operate without donations. $10 a month goes a long way with several of y'all. We'd like to thank Tito's Vodka. They're one of our biggest sponsors. We'll have just a random $1,000 donation come in. We've things like that, and then a lot of my friends are $15 to $50 a month, and that adds up, and it helps us operate on a budget. And then when we end up taking a dog, we got a famously named Brucey up in Virginia. He's our $9,000 dog. We did a bunch of fundraisers for it. People can go to our Facebook fan page, Holly's Hope Rescue. It's got a family of Labradors driving a car, can't miss it. And just click on, just start a fundraiser. And it has all the wording. You can set your total to, automatically sets to 200. Click share, or you can increase it to a higher amount and just share it. I mean, we get so much, just, 800 here, 1,100 here from Facebook. Right. And it's from people just doing random fundraisers that really help us keep going and paying our bills, because it's not, rescue is not cheap at all.
That's for sure. Gayla Goertz, Holly's Hope Rescue, thank you so much for everything you do, you and your folks do. Thanks for the time tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, there you go. So, in fact, my little Pepper patch, I don't know if you can see it or not. When we finally did get a hold of Pepper, he decided to bite me as I tried to put him in the car, but he's been really good ever since. So,
I was wondering what that was when we were on the other side.
Just a little nip. It
Checking
wasn't
some
big deal.
videos. I was looking at that, and I was like, you got some dirt on your face?
Right. Yeah, just
we're supposed to clean up.
Oh, he bled a lot, actually, on the photos he posts on Facebook.
I saw those, yeah.
It's all good. Is Mike Allen around? Is he within earshot? We need to bring Mike Allen on as we get ready to show the ODC fun fact of the week. And, of course, we'll give Mike a chance. There he is. Mr. Mike.
All showered and
There you go. Leland, you want to give him the seat here for a second?
Sure. How did your show go?
How did the show go? Well, I'll let the folks let us know. I won't speak for ourselves. No, you don't need. Oh, okay. All right. There we go. So, Leland, Patrick, can you pop up the ODC fun fact of the week as we introduce Mike Allen? There it is. Can you read that?
What is ODC?
Mike, come on, man. Come on, get back here.
See you at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, come on. Real quick. There you go. It was fun. It's fun, okay? The word there was fun. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so what's coming up at top of the hour with your show?
Canada decided to ban assault weapons, which don't exist, but
okay.
And in their list, they included a veteran-owned coffee company and weapons from video games that don't
really
actually exist.
Wow.
So Mad Mike and I are going to be discussing that.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
In their zeal to ban weapons, assault-grade weapons, which I have no idea what those are, but
okay.
As a weapons expert myself.
Yes.
But yeah.
Mike with the military and the police background, and thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Are we talking Tom Brady? You seem to have... No. We're talking Baker Mayfield.
That's right. First-round pick this year for me. And every year.
Hopefully we'll get the NFL season in.
But they've made a lot of good moves in Cleveland. So
they've done a ton of stuff.
And what they really need to do is give that kid some tools and then build a
They've given him tools
around him.
They have given him tools.
Because when you got a guy that's so passionate about the game that his reaction is to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like saying, well, he's immature and he's a bad sport. You want somebody that pissed off that they're not winning.
There you go.
Because you can build on that. I bet you if Tom Brady comes off a 3-win season in Tampa Bay, he's not going to be, the Tom Brady we know. Of course,
and speaking
we know that's not going to happen.
And speaking of another team that's done a great job putting weapons around him, he is so much. Tampa Bay is easily 5+ wins better than they were. At least 5+ wins.
Well, you know where 2 of those wins are going to come from, right?
Where?
New
Orleans, yeah.
It's funny though that you speak of that. So I'm actually, if they do allow fans in attendance, I'm gonna actually try out. Me and a buddy, we're gonna fly out to the first game of the season.
Oh, there you go.
New Orleans versus Tampa Bay in the Dome.
Well, it's going to be a fun team to watch, and I think
no
it's going
question.
to be interesting to see people make the comparison between the Patriots and Tampa Bay. And I just want to warn everybody that this isn't going to be, you're not going to be able to compare them 1 year in, because Tampa Bay, not only did they have a good team to start with, but they're getting 2 of the greatest players ever to play the game, coming from one of the greatest franchises ever to be in the NFL. Belichick's starting with nothing. So it's going to be
nothing.
It's going to be a few years before he gets that team back up to where it was. And like they said before, you just don't get a Hall of Fame greatest ever quarterback in the 6th round of the 199th pick. So that was a lightning in a bottle. We'll see if he can do it again.
All right, Mikey.
9 o'clock. We'll see you
9
there.
o'clock on the air with Mike Allen. Check it out on YouTube, and it should be a lot of fun. All right. What in the world is going on there? Okay.
I
Information we don't need.
I don't think this
Yeah.
show would want to know now.
No,
On the
definitely
air with
not.
Mike Allen.
Yes, that's
show.
a common occurrence on. No,
Yes.
just kidding. All right, so as we get ready to wrap up show number 1, Mike kind of asked it. Guys, your thoughts?
It was a good first show.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah. Short, sweet, to the point.
Right.
Lot of-
Great guess.
Great guess.
I thought.
All of them.
Nice job by Leland on the video. And again, I'll work on the editing skills. We'll make that just a little bit shorter. But again, I thought the commentary was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so coming up next week, we'll have Tambra Prince, parents, sports athletes, Sports Parents United. It's a cause on Facebook. You can check it out there. We'll have Tambra. We'll also have Tanya Arsenault, who was the trapper that helped us trap Pepper, and really great advice on if your dog gets lost, what you need to do to get that dog back for sure. So, and again, thanks to Patrick, thanks to Leland. Great job, guys. Thanks for the prep. And of course, our guest, Sam Tipton of TGCA, and Gayla Goertz of Holly's Hopes Rescues. So for everybody here, I'm Chuck Licata. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week in the On Deck Circle. Good night, everybody.